Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Miss Faye and this is my world. Today's topic is the impact of mental illness on the family. Before we get started, I want to say welcome. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to all the new viewers, all the new subscribers, and welcome to you who have been with me from the beginning. I really appreciate you. Now let's dive into this message. The impact of mental illness on the family. You know, if you come from a family where mental illness was prevalent, I'm sure it affected you in your relationships. It affected the person that you are if you grew up in a house like this. People who have a mental illness are on really a destructive path. All right, we do have a letter here. Let's dive into this letter. She entitles her letter, Mentally Ill Brother. I came from a dysfunctional family. Growing up, my father was both physically and mentally abusive to my mother and siblings. All right. It's possible that your father was a narcissist. It's possible. I escaped my father's wrath. I guess he had a sweet spot for me. But nonetheless, as a child, I was scared of him. And I had anxiety issues and regularly wet the bed. Yeah, because you were scared to death of him. If he was a narcissist, and narcissists can be very scary and extremely abusive to the family. I tried to shield my brother from my parents fighting, and over the years, my brother and I grew apart. You said you tried to shield your brother from your parents fighting, and over the years, you and your brother grew apart. On the odd time we would talk over the phone, it would turn into an argument, and ugly things would be said by both of us. All right, what are you and your brother fighting about? Just fighting, period? Or was he affected by growing up in this dysfunctional family that made him very angry? All right? And it very well could have. In my family, there is a bipolar trait, which most of us siblings have. But my younger brother is actually affected by this mental illness. All right, so your brother is really showing signs of this mental illness. Over the years, my brother has caused the family much stress over his condition, and his personality is very manipulative, cruel, and demanding. Too interested in personal things about siblings and people in general. He acts as if the world owes him something, and he's quite disabled now at the age of 48. With chronic arthritis in both hips, as well as his bipolar. Okay, so you believe that your brother is bipolar. All right, so let's look at that condition. Bipolar. You know, bipolar disorder is frequently inherited. And you said it was a trait in your family. Okay, bipolar disorder is the most likely psychiatric disorder to be passed down from family members. If one parent has bipolar disorder, there is a 10% chance that their child will develop the illness. All right, and possibly this is what happened in your family if the trait is in your family. Now, bipolar disorder and schizophrenia can be confused, but they're similar. It says that they are different chronic mental health disorders, but some of the symptoms overlap each other. The bipolar disorder primarily causes extreme mood swings, and schizophrenia causes delusions and hallucinations. And see, this kind of thing is very stressful on families. Extremely stressful. Now, some experts believe that experiencing a lot of emotional distress as a child can also cause bipolar disorder to develop. This could be because childhood trauma and distress can have a big effect on our ability to manage our emotions. And this can include experiences like neglect. Now, being raised in a dysfunctional household, you may have had a combination of a lot of things. Childhood trauma, neglect, and you said that your father was abusive to everyone in the family. You know, the mother and the children. So all of you have been affected by this abuse. All of you siblings have been affected in some way by this abuse. And your brother is showing signs of bipolar. He doesn't look after himself, eating fast foods and drinking gallons of soda. I've been estranged from him for over a few years, and our last phone call was in March 2023, and it ended up blowing up into a nasty argument. We haven't spoken since. All right, so what's happening between you and your brother is that either you are triggering him or he is triggering you by whatever is being said. But if you know that your brother is suffering from this mental illness, it's better if you try to be more understanding. Now, I have people in my family who are suffering from mental illnesses. And a lot of us do. A lot of us do, whether you want to admit it or not. Think about it. You have somebody in your family who may be suffering from a mental illness. And, it's pretty common. Somebody in your family, it may not be in your immediate family, but it may be in your extended family, some relative or whatever. And, in my family, a thread of mental illness is there. And it has hit and miss members in the family. Some members of the family have it. Schizophrenia. Some members of the family come out with bipolar because of this gene that's in the family. Now, this mental illness, I'm not going to make judgment on what it is. But what I'm going to do is talk about how you manage with these people. It can be difficult. It can be extremely difficult because you care for these people, but because of their mental illness, it's hard for you to deal with it. To deal with it. Because if they're suffering from bipolar and they're having these mood swings, they're up one minute and down the next minute. But don't allow them to swing you along with them. All right? For you to realize that your brother has this issue, whenever you talk to him, don't get triggered. Whenever he says things that upset you, calm yourself down and just say, well, let's talk later. I got to run and do something. Try to cut your conversation short before it gets into a heated argument. because you can feel it coming. You can feel it coming. And I'm assuming that you are the more stable one. From your letter, since you wrote the letter, I'm assuming that you are more stable than your brother. All right? Now, you both grew up in the same family. And I don't know if when you talk together, are you arguing about things that happen in the family? Are you arguing about things that happen between the two of you? But it's best that you don't allow your brother to draw you into that confusion. That's the thing. Don't allow anyone who is toxic to draw you into their toxicity. And really, this is what they want you to, a lot of times, this is their intent, to draw you in. Because, they're looking at you, and sometimes they may think that you're better than them or whatever. But if they can bring you down to their level, then they feel more content that there's nothing wrong with them. You see, there's nothing wrong with them. And they're going to show you it's nothing wrong with them by bringing you back down into that low vibration with them. Don't allow that to happen. Don't allow it to happen. When you feel the energy rising up to an argument, you step back. Step back and take a deep breath. Whenever I am communicating with someone in my family who has a mental illness, and like I said, it does run in the family, I try to keep the conversation upbeat, pleasant. I've been on occasion where arguments arise and maybe the person just flies off the handle. What do? What I did was just step back, give them some space, step back and compose yourself. Because if you happen to add fuel to that fire, it will just get out of control. It will get out of control. And you don't want to do that. Whenever you feel them getting aggravated or agitated, it's better for you just to shut it down and be quiet and step back. Step back. And, if it were me, I wouldn't continue the conversation at that time. Give them time to regroup themselves. But don't be drawn into arguments with people who have a mental illness. I mean, what is the resolve? You are not helping them in any way. But they are destroying you by bringing you down into that toxicity. Don't allow it. Don't allow it. Just step away or walk away. All right? I feel guilty at times that I have abandoned him, as my brother no longer has a support system, but it's his own nastiness that's pushed us all away. That's right. You can't do anything about that. You stay away. Stay away. That's all you can do. That's what I did in my family. You just have to stay away from it. You cannot really help these people. These people need to realize that there is a problem and they seek help themselves. You say, I lost my sister in 2021 to cancer. Her and I were estranged too. My question is, should I reach out to him or leave it be? I think you should leave it be. I think you should leave it be. You say that your sister passed away, but you were estranged. It looks like whatever happened growing up with this father, and he did sound like a narcissist, with this father, that it really just destroyed the family dynamic. I grew up in a dysfunctional home too. With my brothers and sisters, growing up, we weren't close. Growing up, because the home was dysfunctional, we grew up fighting each other. Fighting each other, but we got it from our parents. You see, they had us in competition with each other. What they would do is split us up. Have some of the siblings telling on the other siblings, and then going in and abusing the siblings that have been told on, things like that. It split the family. And this is probably what happened in your family. And that's why you and your siblings were estranged. The same thing happened to me growing up. Now, as we got older, and some of us began to understand what happened growing up. And we began to try to get closer to each other again. Closer. But it's work. Now, your sister passed away and you weren't close. Now, here's your brother suffering with this mental illness, and you want to know what to do. I say leave it alone. Let it be. You can't help him with that mental illness. You can't help him. He will have to try to seek his own help if he realizes that he's ill. You know, some people with these mental illnesses, they don't realize that they are ill. And so they just keep on that path. They just keep going down that dark path. And they will take you with them if you allow it. Usually their lives are very unhappy, confusion, and totally chaotic. You don't want to be drawn into that. You want your life, you want peace in your life. Peace. And peace is very valuable. If one or more of your siblings are suffering from a mental illness, be patient, but guard yourself. If you are grown and on your own, you have to guard yourself. There's no way that you can get around it because, you'll see them on, special occasions, but I wouldn't make it on a regular basis. I wouldn't make it regular because they're toxic. And you can't change them. You can only guard yourself. And I know it's a hard thing. It's a hard thing for me. But it has to be done if you want to save your own sanity and to live a happy life yourself. You can't do it if you are carrying a mentally ill person in your energy. There's no happiness there. People, you have to love yourself. You see, you feel bad for them. Yes, you do. And you wish you could help them in some way. The people in my family, I've helped them with money, any kind of support they need, whatever. You understand? And still, they come around me and want to fight. I can't be around that. So what I do, I love them from afar. Love them from afar. I don't ring them up because I know it'll be more chaos. You see, when you ring them up and bring them back into your energy, here we go again. On that toxic cycle that I talk about a lot. On that toxic cycle. If you don't want to be on that cycle, you got to let toxic people go. Let them live their own lives and just wish them well. Wish them well. And if you love them from afar. From afar. And if they need something from you and it's in your power to give it, then send it to them. Just send it. But keep your distance. You got to protect your energy. At all costs, protect your energy, because this determines your own peace and well-being, your own happiness in your life. And you have to guard that. I hope that you understand the message today, and I really hope that it helps. Now, those of you who have questions that you would like for me to answer, in the description you'll find my email address. Send me your letters, and I would be happy to read them and share them with the collective. And don't hesitate to send your letters, because your letters help so many other people who are having the same issues that you may be having. And I'm hoping that on this platform we can share this information and help each other, because we're all growing. Now, those of you who are looking for your affirmations and your movement, in the description you'll find a link that says affirmation and exercise. Click on that link and it'll take you straight to the affirmations for today. I want to thank you so much for supporting this channel. Thank you for your comments and your letters. And a special thank you to those that leave a donation. I appreciate all of you. I wish you all the very best. And I really hope to see you next time.